All right, back at the river. Haven't been here for a while, except for when we tubed it. Floated down in the inner tubes a couple weeks ago when it was hotter than hell. Water's really low, but it's flowing. I don't see any dead fish laying around. I'll be surprised if a bear comes walking out. The wind's in my face right now, so if a bear comes out, the dog's gonna go absolutely wild. Now, what do we got? We got a lot. Bought my equalizer. Dunk framing hammer. Thought about throwing a rifle on here, but you know what? Currently today, the Canadian government, they'll look for any reason to take a firearm from a citizen right now, so. And why do we need my equalizer? Well, a couple times we've been down here and somebody's come down here with, one time somebody came down with 3 large various breeds of dogs, one of those brindled things, and I just wonder what would have happened if I had my dog, which is on a leash all the time, by law, under control. And if what happens to Sarah and Chippy a little while ago happens to me and Ruby and she can't handle herself, it's going to be game over. With a quick clunk to the head with the hammer. And that's just how it's going to go. If it ever went down. Oh, sun's blazing. I might have to move us up and get in that shade. We'll see if I can read this. It's my fish dog, excitedly plays in the water. She's a duck. Now what's going on? Tomorrow, I believe Sarah's lined up one of the Arizona forests coming on tomorrow. And I checked I got share my story and tell my story emails. Tell my story, I think, was the original one, and I rarely crack open. I cracked open this morning, and if we didn't have a reply from 3 of the Arizona 4, hearing my message in a video about coming on here. So one's coming on tomorrow, and maybe we'll get another one of the fellas on here after that. So that's exciting. Now, what else do we got going on here? A lot of people are emailing me about people in Canada getting fined for walking in the woods. Yeah, that's back east. You got to take into account, you guys, that at this stage of the game in any government, well, I shouldn't say any, but for the majority, especially Canada, the people that are in charge are not rational thinking, intelligent people. That's just all there is to it. And they've made, I think, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland have all jumped on. If you go in the woods, you're going to get fined. It's because of the extreme fire season back east. That's how they're trying to deal with it. But obviously, it's going to cause an uproar, especially during school breaks, summertime. It is what it is. Nothing in Canada stands surprises me at all anymore. Yeah, but that's the basis of the reasoning, is trying to prevent forest fires. But obviously you're going to have a serious uproar with a lot of people, right? Would that stop me? I don't think I even have to answer that question, but anyway. I don't know if you guys remember from past videos, but usually the water is right up to where the camera is and you can't even get out to this rock. That's how low it is right now. Now, what do we got going on today? Of course, my brain's going blank and some of the things I want to share with everyone. Looking forward to the talk to the fellas from Arizona. I think we have a few left. Okay, hold on a minute. What do we got? This is titled Decades in the Rainforest. Hopefully I didn't read this one. I got a bunch of fresh, out of the pan copied and saved today after I dumped my entire coffee all over me and Sarah's couch. Trying to check my emails with Ruby looking at me like, let's go. Decades in the rainforest. Everything is going to be to the point. I know we're both busy. I'm always surprised by the intelligence of the natural world, and I do mean surprised. I've been surrounded by orcas in my kayak, and at one time otters. The otters were more alarming. I've seen bears and cougars in every setting. Wolves running through the yard, bears in the pantry, deers in the kitchen, bears sleeping under my porch, whales by the thousands, sea lions, and just every living thing in duplicate except a grizzly bear. I lived off the grid in Cayucet Sound. I lived on Frank Island and up Browning Passage on a float house tied to an intertidal island. I log salvaged the west coast with an old pirate boat builder named Joe Cousineau, and worked for the Nuu-chah-nulth Tribal Council for a decade. I've spoken with hundreds of First Nations persons over the years, but mostly notably the Martin and Joe families from the NTC and some of the Dixon family from the Sechelt Nation, where I live now, on banned land on the edge of the great forest that separates you and I. Every single Native person I've ever known, and there have been many, have told me about these beings, and like you, I'd be just as happy not to know much more about them. They say they're up the Atleo River outside Tofino and up Jervis Inlet here, but from your tales it seems they come closer than I ever hoped they would. After years of living in the forest in a cabin, I built with hand tools, traveling the jungles and beaches of the world by sailboat and working with the Coast Guard for 10 years doing search and rescue. I can tell you, I've seen a lot of nature at her finest, and she is a cruel mistress. My skills and luck have been good. I've averted being ambushed by cougars on 3 occasions that I know of. I've seen a black bear the size of a dumpster and every other size bear. I've heard a lot of forest kills and dying things in the night, from the sand dunes of Mexico where the coyotes run to the back 40 here where the coyotes run. I had a bobcat eat a pesky raccoon family that was nesting in my crawl space at 1 a.m. That sounded really painful. But I've never heard anything like the sound I heard in '96 when I was walking out the front door with 2 friends one evening. We were on the edge of Chapman Creek watershed, where the coastal rainforest becomes mountains that lead to Squamish straight from the sea. There was no one outside. It was still as a crypt, and as we opened the door, an unimaginable sound came from the forest. It was louder than anything I could imagine coming from an owl or a cougar, and it sounded like a dog strangling a cat strangling a dog, a squeal, then a scream/howl, and it went on and on. All 3 of simultaneously stepped back inside the... What? All 3 of simultaneously stepped back inside the house. Since that time, I've heard a lot more owls, cougars, and elk in the rut, and you name it. But nothing sounded as weird as that, and wow, I'll never forget it. We did hear forest knocks and such in the rainforest in Clayucet. When you live deep in the forest with no livestock, just a dog, you get less visitors at night, of every variety. But we would keep the dogs in just to give the forest some peace at night, and to be honest, I felt completely unconcerned about Sasquatch in terms of a safety issue, more worried about cougars and martens. And although we did venture into the forest, I'd like to stay just on the edge. I like to stay just on the edge. I knew one of the 14 people killed by a cougar in BC. I lived through a decade in Tough City, and we cougars, but nothing prepares you for the other. Outside the box sounds in the forest. I hope the bears are waking up because I heard some weird sounds in the forest last week. I went to the corner gas station and the guy asked how I was, and I told him about the noises. He told me Ted Dixon says the Sasquatch is up behind the longhouse where I live sometimes. He says he hears them up there in the forest. They call him Smilth, S-M-I-L-D'-Th. That's the best I can do with Sechelt Nation language at this time. These are powerful mountains here, and anything that can survive in this forest has my respect and admiration. I saw the largest cougar I could ever imagine existing here. In 2016, it cleared the highway in 1 touchdown. Its body, not including the tail, was at least 4.5 feet long. and it was huge and gorgeous. I had to pull over and just freak out for a while. Sometimes I'd ride that road past a little creek that goes down to the sea. That's where we cross the road. Not riding there these days. You mentioned the risks you take, but for me, I'm not going deep into the forest, although I know how to navigate by every means available. I don't have a shoddy. I have a dog, and I wish you did too. You make me nervous. I need a machine gun. I only have pellet guns. They are replicas, but just to scare prowlers and target practice. I have a compound bow and a slingshot. And I found your site because I was trying to figure out how to trap this hawk that has been demolishing my poultry, tearing into my aerial netting like in that movie, The Twilight Zone. The thing on the wing of the plane just tearing into shit. I'd let him go up Rainy River. He was more on my He has more on my case than Smilth or Sasquatch ever has been. I never would have imagined that I would have such a tactical, hands-on encounter with a hawk unintentionally. I've applied for my falconry permits, but he was not a good candidate. Before I disappear back into the forest, I just wanted to share with you my concept of Sasquatch fences and Sasquatch gardens. I found poisonous mushrooms in my backyard, so I'm changing the fungal colony back there to an edible variety by inoculating the existing mycelial network with oyster mushrooms, etc. I have to create some cultivated areas back there in the forested area to regrow a friendlier mushroom culture in the area, to create natural gardens and diversions that are not offensive to Sasquatch. Is a new goal as I sit with this 100-year-old wild man of the woods mask from Alert Bay given by my grandfather. Muswia, James Dixon, told me that I should always protect the mask, and Smilth will know and protect me. I create natural beds in the forest and diversions away from my house using deadfalls stacked between trees, as this is outside my fenced area, but I still want to encourage the game on the trail behind me to stay outside the back jungle. I also put dog and human pee on the perimeter, but I love this natural diversion concept. My dog is barking at the bear, which seems to have awoke to dig in my garden and chew my tire. Time to let him run this bear off my livestock. He just loves that. Thank you, Steve. You're obviously authentic and genuine and not just another pretty face. LOL, Lisa. All right. Thanks, Lisa. Sounds like you've lived an interesting life, and there's a picture of a hawk in a cage. You caught him. I guess the gist of this is to let us know that you know about these people and you heard them one night. Appreciate the email. Keep us updated if anything significant may happen. Have I read this? It's short. I just had these two left over from yesterday in the folder, so let me read this one. Bubs, what are you doing? You liking it down here, Bubby? Are ya? Okay, you know the drill, right? We got to get the people heard. You watch for bears and stuff. Bigfoot sounds in Squamish. Hey, how to hunt. I have a story that happened to me a year ago. So my name is Joshua Hammermeister. I live in Vancouver, BC. So last year or so, me and a group of my friends went to Squamish for a big group camping trip. We drove out there on a Friday, then came home on a Saturday because everybody had to work and school. We decided to go to this campsite, Mountain Fun Camp. I didn't pick the name, but I was already kind of skeptical of going camping in a tent, as tenting's not really my thing. We have dinner. It's getting dark and late, so we're all getting ready for bed. And one of our friends blew out her knee somehow. A couple of friends drove her to the Squamish hospital. They stayed there until 3 in the morning. Me and about 8 others stayed back by the fire and wanted to stay awake till our friends came back. At this point, we were sitting around the fire, and it was about 1:32 in the morning, and we started hearing howls all around us. Mind you, it's pitch black in this campsite at 1:32 in the morning, so I start to get, nervous. Maybe there are wolves around, but I'm like, whatever. So it eventually, after 30 minutes of that, stopped. Then we proceeded to hear monkey screams in the bushes. There's not monkeys or apes in BC, or that I know of. So that really put me off and kind of freaked me out. So I kept listening with my friends, and that went on for a couple more times. And so after that it stopped, we all went to bed because we were kind of freaked out. My buddies, who I was sleeping next to, fell asleep so quick, and I'm left there laying awake. I then fell asleep and all of a sudden woke up again at 4. I then proceeded to hear wood knocking. Really, really loud wood knocking out in the bushes. And I've heard about that before, how Sasquatches knock on trees. And I heard about, 10 knocks, and then it stopped. At this point, I'm thinking to myself, I'm never ever coming back. Hey, it's just a bear. It's all right. At this point, I'm thinking to myself, I'm never ever coming camping in Squamish in a dinky tent ever again. So after that ended, I hear gunshots, and it echoed across the whole valley. I hear 5 shots, and I'm like, okay, I'm either nuts or Squamish is infested with Sasquatches. I do know that people do some weird stuff out in the bush, some weird rituals or stuff out there, but that night I was quite scared, actually, for my life. It was probably one of the scariest nights I've had. And if you're reading this, I'd really appreciate it. I thought I'd put my experience out there and see what you have to say about Squamish. And if you've ever heard weird stuff out there too. All I know is Squamish has probably been one of the weirdest camping experiences ever. Just thought you might enjoy the scary experience I had. Hope to hear from you soon. Joshua Hammermeister. Joshua, I may have read this, but who knows? I've read a lot from Squamish with almost the exact same storyline, right? And lots of campers camping up by that bridge, a big steel bridge that goes across the river. I forget what kilometer that is up there. And there's all those campgrounds and those big cedars before there. And up past there's where I dropped that big hog and something carried it away. And up past there's where that guy got that picture of that one standing in the trees looking at me, which I believe is legit. Hey. So the wind's coming from that side of the river straight at us. And you know there's a pile of bears in there. So her nose is telling her a lot right now. Hey, Bubs. Especially when she doesn't listen to me at all when I'm talking. She's smelling everything. What are you smelling? Huh? What are you smelling out there? Hey? You smelling bears? Yeah? Don't shake on me. Okay, I want you to sit down there and wait for me. Sit in the shade of the quad. Okay? Okay, Bubs? Yeah. Squamish. It's pretty consistent, Squamish area, the whole valley, the whole Sea to Sky region. It's very consistent. Then a quick note before I forget. So last night I went to bed. Thanks for that email, Joshua, by the way. I went to bed last night, 9 o'clock or something. And all the cats are in the house. The dogs are in the house. The horses are in the barn locked up. Or on that side of the property, so they don't run around the yard. Sometimes let them rip around. I don't know what it was, but something sure bonked the side of the house at the back. Something, who knows? Maybe it was a bat flew off course and smashed into the wall. I don't know, but it was enough to make me go, oh yeah. And then I'm like, did I lock the doors? Not that it would matter, but I went and locked the door. Made sure the doors are locked. Quick update for my back 40. It's like a tap, a real loud one. That was it. Now, who's next? All right, here we go. Mark this as red, fresh out of the pan. Mind Speak and a Disappearing Canyon in New Mexico. Hi, Steve. You can use my name because my story is real, and to hell with anyone that doesn't believe it. I sent this story in probably 3 years ago, but I think I used your other email address, and I've never heard you read it. So here it is again. Good, I'm glad, because I've lost 2,500 emails. It was approximately 1973, and I would have been about 14 or 15 years old. I was with my family on a vacation to New Mexico visiting the grandparents. We were fishing along the San Juan River about 1.5 to 2 hours north of Farmington, New Mexico. It was me, my sister, my mom and dad, and grandpa and grandma. And as I was fishing from the bank of the river, in this river canyon, I felt like there was something there with us, perhaps watching us. This place had a feeling of anxiousness to it. This is Native American country with a lot of Navajo Indians and some Hopi as well. I thought perhaps there were Indian spirits there. That's what it felt like to me anyway. This river where we were flowed through a canyon with high canyon walls that actually are mesas, pronounced mesa, and it means table in Spanish. These mesas are flat on top and very characteristic of the southwest U.S. So all day I was gazing up at the canyon walls that were layered with sandstone, with little trees growing up out of the sides, and feeling like something was there in this ancient place with us. Later in the afternoon, the family was all back at the camper, taking a break for a late lunch, and I got bored, so I took off to hike up the slope that was behind the campground. It was a gentle slope that led up to the canyon wall. I was looking for cool rocks. This was probably about 400 yards from camp. I found a rivulet. Rivulet? In the sand. It was where water had trickled down from the wall of the canyon and had stopped right there in the dry sand. The rivulet is the width of my finger. I decided to follow it to see where it had come from. This rivulet opened up to a small stream bed that was maybe 2 feet wide and 3 inches deep. I could see that it had come from a side canyon off the mesa. This narrow little canyon was parallel to the wall of the canyon. In the mouth of this little canyon was a huge boulder. There was a small bent pine tree that looked like it had been smashed by the boulder and was growing outward from underneath the boulder to the left. It had almost a 90-degree bend in it. To the right of this boulder, there was a small pile of rocks. This boulder was probably 5 feet wide and 6 feet tall. I'm 5'2", but could not see over the top of the boulder. But I wanted to explore the little canyon and see how far back it went. So I thought maybe I would step up on the small pile of rocks and climb over the boulder, but for some reason I felt uneasy about it. I was having thoughts like, I'm all alone here, and if something happens to me, no one will know where I'd gone. But then I decided to just step up on the pile of rocks and take a peek to see how far back that little canyon went. As soon as I took a step, I heard a very loud and very distinct voice in my head that said, "Stop, do not go there." I was shocked. I couldn't believe what had just happened. I remember thinking, why? Just wanted to take a peek. So I took another step, and again I heard the voice, "Stop, do not go there." This time there was a sense of extreme urgency and extreme danger. It was like if I took another step, I would surely die. So I turned around and left and went right back to camp. I was just a kid, but I wish I had asked who was speaking to me. I didn't even think about that, I just left. When I got back to camp, I grabbed my sister and told her what had just happened. And she remembers that day. And she told me she believed me because my eyes were wide and I was pretty upset. I asked her to go back up there with me to check it out. I wanted to show her the rivulet and the stream bed and the little canyon I had found, so she came with me. I went right back up the way I'd gone before. We get up there and I can't find the rivulet. I'm probably not even pronouncing that right. R-I-V-U-L-E-T. Never heard of that before in my life. I can't find the stream bed, and there was no parallel canyon. I searched probably 300 feet to the left and to the right, and it was just... Hey! Settle down. Settle down. Bubs. The wind's going that way, so that's weird. Hey! Settle down. Bubs. Hey, come here. Good girl. Good girl. It's all right. It's funny, that's the direction shit flies at me when it gets thrown at me. It's just odd for her to blow up when the wind's going that way. Good girl. Sorry, gotta find my spot. Shit, sorry guys, hold on a second. It was steep and there was no way I would have come up that way. There's no way I was off course and was just mistaken about where I'd been. I knew exactly where I was. I pay attention to my surroundings. I see details that most people miss. I was just astounded that it was gone. I just shook my head, told my sister I cannot explain it. It was there, and now it is not. At that time, I thought maybe it was an Indian spirit talking to me because maybe there was an Indian burial ground there. But now I just don't know. It could also have been the Holy Spirit warning me of some hidden danger. Perhaps the boulder would have smashed me like it did to the little tree. Maybe it was a mountain lion or a rattlesnake, and maybe there was a murderer up there. Or maybe it was a portal that I was about to walk into, and when we went back up there, the portal was gone. Whatever it was warning me of some kind of serious danger. I never felt any fear, but I did feel apprehension. I didn't hear things go quiet. I didn't feel like I was in a vacuum and there was no bad smell. It was just a voice. A very loud, very serious voice. It could have been a Sasquatch, could have been the Holy Spirit, but no one can ever tell me that mind speak is not real. Pretty weird, huh? I'd pretty much forgotten about that incident over all these years until my sister came across your channel. She told me to check it out, so I've been watching your channel for about 3 years now. I love all the footage of nature. I'd really love to go fishing with you. I want to do that next year for sure. Be a pleasure to meet you and Sarah and see that beautiful country up there. Take care and keep up the good fight. Oh, we will. Appreciate the kind words and the email. And yep, the mind speak is real. Hasn't happened to me yet, but it's absolutely real. Absolutely. I can't explain that either, but while I was reading your account, I was instantly thinking of Sarah and I farther up the river on the other side where nobody goes. And I found that pounded down trail that didn't make sense. And then she saw all those sticks lined up in front of her on the forest floor, and then they were gone. It's like, okay, what's going on? Right? I think it's safe to say there's possibly something else going on all around us that we just can't see, and sometimes the veil thins, whatever it is. I can't explain it yet, but if we keep talking, we'll eventually figure it out. Sometimes I wonder if we're the fish in the glass bowl, right? Sometimes I think we're the fish, we're the goldfish in the bowl for someone, somewhere, something. Yeah. There's a big eagle right there. Two of them. Two big mature eagles. Wish I might zoom in on the suckers for you guys. Then again, we've all seen eagles a million times, right? Right, Bubs? Excuse me. Who's next? Manipulated DNA, one doctor's perspective. Just a quick note from a retired OB/GYN. Steve, you frequently talk about our manipulated DNA. In my OB/GYN residency training after medical school, a common fertility test performed on men's sperm was the hamster egg penetration test. What? This test is exactly what it says. The test of a human male's sperm ability to penetrate or fertilize a hamster egg. Curious, huh? Yeah. How and why was this test developed? We used to joke about what you would call the resulting product. A manster? A humpster? A hammond? Oh my God. Oh boy. You have great channels and do great work. I've been a regular in your audience since 2022. Keep up the good work. All the best. Retired Florida doctor. Hold on. Quote, "For here we are not afraid to follow truth wherever it may lead." Thomas Jefferson, 1743, 1826, third president of the United States. Yeah. Really? Yeah, whose idea was that? Who's getting paid to do that? Can you imagine? You imagine getting paid to do that shit for a living? All this beautiful real world going on everywhere, and you choose to stay indoors and figure out how you can get human sperm to penetrate a hamster's egg. And plus what else, right? Holy shit. Holy shit. But we've had some very, very intelligent people come here, continuously share with us facts about spliced human DNA, experiments with human DNA, hybrid humans. It's very real. Without a doubt, all that shit's very real. Why? I don't know. Can't people just go hunting, fishing, camping, and have fun and see different countries and play in beaches and forests, jungles? I don't get it. How about that gain of function horse shit? Whoever's the first, and every person who's been enthusiastic about gain of function with deadly diseases should be strung the hell up, right? Strung up. Imagine people are taking our money to manipulate and master making deadly diseases have gain of function, which only results in one thing, the annihilation of us. Isn't that amazing? A Dr. Fossey name comes to mind, doesn't it? Where's all the bears, Bubs? Well, Bubs has eyes like a frickin' hawk, don't you? Eyes like a hawk. Even if she can't smell one, if she sees something black way back there, she's gonna go ape shit. Ape shit. She's lying here. You're doing a good job lying here being patient. She knows the routine. All right, we got a new one from one of the Arizona 4. Didn't say not to share it, so I'm sharing it. This is titled, Right Between the Eyes. Steve, greetings from Arizona again. I opened your channel to listen to the others' experiences, and I saw an Arizona 4 in one of the posting lines, titles. I wondered who wrote you from the group. So naturally, I picked that posting. Damn, it was for me. I sent that in a long time ago. I'll let the others know of your invite. Probably Kevin or Chris will take you up on your invite. Wayne and myself are not really into getting interviewed. Maybe if all of us were seated together, you could get both Wayne and I partake. Other than that, we'll be in the back of the room heckling the one being interviewed. Perfect. You ask how we are doing. Are we still going out? Damn straight we are. Though we're probably done going out for the year, Kevin's getting a pacemaker installed next week. The rest of us have other things going on, like I'll be back in Virginia for my Older Than Rock class reunion this September. Our next outing will probably be early next spring. Enough of the Arizona 4 catching up, but you did ask. Just know we're still going out and experiencing and interacting with them. Of course, all interactions are on their terms. Even after all the years we've gone out, we still have new things happen. We were at Kevin's #1 spot this last weekend. Wayne had a few of his friends come up to sit out with us, to see if this is real, or are we just crazy and making things up. One of them brought their guitar. We've never had anyone play an instrument during a sit-out before. The start of that night, we think about 5 of them, our forest friends, were there visiting us. Visiting, observing, or just being entertained by us. Take our pick of words. And at the end of that evening, I know we had way more than 5 of them there. Wow. We definitely felt they enjoyed and approved of the acoustic guitar. Did they call others from the clan to listen to the music, or maybe the others were coming anyway? Who the hell knows? That was a new experience for us. The next night, I definitely had something new happen to me. We were sitting in the dark again, a few hours before the moon was up, and you could see the skyline, but not much more than a few feet away from you. I could tell Kevin was nearing the end of some mind speak he was getting. I was scanning around like I always do, and just as I looked up to the skyline, I saw a round, dark dot just appeared an inch or 2 from my forehead. This entire event was maybe a second long, and it appeared a little above my eyebrows. This was all in one motion. Its path was like a V path. It just popped into my vision. Sorry, I looked up and lost my spot. It was all one continuous motion. It hit me between the eyes. Then it pulled away an inch or so from me before it was gone. Again, all one motion. It did not fall into my sight, nor did it fall out of my sight. It was just there, then it wasn't. His path was not straight into me, nor was it straight away from me. I saw it a little above the eyebrows heading towards me. It popped out of my vision, maybe just below my eyebrows. Never over 2 inches away. I saw this dot very clearly because when this dot appeared, I just looked up at the skyline. I'm going to sneeze, sorry. And my first thought after this hit and run was, did this really just happen? And believe it or not, seeing the poke coming and going wasn't the oddest thing I took away from this. I've been poked a few times before, of course. I never saw those pokes coming. The thing that stood out most about this was how soft the hit was. It felt like a soft Nerf dart hitting me right between the eyes. It took a few seconds and a suggestion from Wayne to realize the dot was a finger. The end of a finger, to be exact. I don't know why one of them did that, but it made us laugh. Maybe I was just in reach of one of them as they strolled by me. And they thought, why not? LOL, it's possible it was a younger one, and he or she was thanking me for all the cookies I put out that night. I don't know if any of them took any of the cookies and treats. I can say the next morning, the plate had only a few small pretzels on it. Of all the rocks I put piles of, my buddies... What? Of all the rocks I put piles of, my buddies on was also gone. Again, who knows? There are plenty of animals out there that would not pass up all the sweets I left out. I can say for sure that this last trip, the campsite was visited by a coatimundi, a fox, Fred the squirrel, and of course, a number of ravens. Take care, Rob. Appreciate you, Rob. Big time. I think, yeah, I think Kevin's on here tomorrow morning with me, I think Sarah lined it up with him, because I think she said earlier, she said the person that's coming with me tomorrow came fishing with me from Arizona. I'm like, huh? Nope, I don't think he came fishing with me, but maybe almost. I gotta take you guys, I gotta go in that forest one time, huh? Take you guys in there, go see what's in there. I've been around it with the Zodiac. I know there's a big swamp at that dip that hooks around that way. I got a new friend, native friend of mine, Cameron, came over a while back, and he lives on the other side of the river back in there. And he wants to have a BS session with me. Maybe you can fill me in on what's maybe has gone on in his backyard right over here. Maybe. But anyway, sorry. Looking forward to getting a conversation with you guys and updated and what's up and what I can learn. I got questions to ask too. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. Appreciate the email, man. Glad you guys are still watching. Listening. Who's next? Mark this as red. Bigfoot experience. Hello, Steve. I'm sending the story without much apprehension because it's the truth. I live in a small town 50 miles south of Buffalo, New York, where there's a lot of hills and extremely woodsy. The road that my folks lived on is a seasonal road, and at the time, one of 3 houses. At one point going down the road, it kind of bottlenecks and winds sharp, and there's a real deep ravine on the west side for about half a mile down the road. Anyways, right before that part of the road, there was an old farmhouse that had collapsed, but the old wooden machine shed, approximately 30 feet long and 15 feet wide, was still standing. Myself and a couple guys that lived on the same road were out on a bike ride that day because 35 years ago, that what we did before the internet. We got out of the house and did shit. I've forgotten to mention that I was 14 and the 2 brothers were 13 and 15. We started looking around the old building and decided to see what was inside. It was pretty dark inside, even though it was fall in the middle of the day. Being nosy kids, we just kept going. We all of a sudden, in the back of the building, we saw, and I do mean we, a large being with 2 red eyes start to stand up. How do I know its eyes were red? Probably because there was enough light that could have made eye shine through the back of the building. I can't tell you how tall the thing was. It was wide and tall, that much I can tell you. I was scared shitless. I ran out of the building with them two right behind me. I was running so fast that the chain on my bike jumped off the sprocket. We didn't speak of this for a few weeks, and when I did, and who was with me, I became a laughingstock. It wasn't until 30 years later that one of my brothers admitted to me what we saw that day happen. I really didn't give a shit because I did, and it wasn't until 06 that I had another encounter. Not of the same magnitude, but an encounter. Thanks for giving me a forum to share my story. You can use my name if you want. Take care, and thanks for being a balls to the wall kind of guy. You should send in that other one, man. Blake. Appreciate that, Blake. You should send that other one in to us too. I want to hear about it. Imagine. One thing, the eye shine, a lot of people think it's a reflection. I can tell you without a doubt, there's no eyes that reflect from sunlight, even in the shade, ever. I mean, I've been hunting everything for a long time in all conditions. On a sunny day, in the timber, raise the sun cutting through. I've never seen any animal's eyeballs that normally reflect from headlights or flashlight reflect from sunlight in my life. Never, and especially a red color. Right? Bubs, you're doing real good. You're being a real good patient doggy, hey? Dogs are so goofy. God, she makes me laugh. Come over here. Come here. Get you unwrapped here. Hey? Let's get you unwrapped. Come over here. Come here. Oh my God, how'd you get that under there? There you go. Come up here. Come on. Get up here. Good puppy. All right? Good puppy pup. What do you see out there? Anything? Huh? What do you sense out there? Man, there's no dead fish. Later in the fall there will be. Sockeye came through earlier. You hear that eagle? Hey? Man, she just about frickin' mauled me to death when I came home yesterday, didn't you? Huh? Crazy how when you leave for a handful of days and you reunite with them, they act like you haven't seen you for 5 years and they've been missing the shit out of you. Hey, Bubs. Hey. It's funny too, so she's so content as long as she's with me. So weird. First time dog owner, obviously. Will you lay on the rock? Well, you want to come up here? Come up here. You coming up? You want to come up here? No, bad idea. Hold on. Okay, let's get back. I got to get voices heard, all right? Just be patient. You're doing a good job. Keep Dad safe. All right, what's this? Excuse me. We've seen the light. It's the topic of this email. Excuse me, it's the title of this email. Hello, Steve. My name is Mike. And after listening to your vlogs for over a year, you jogged my memory I'd buried for years. Steve, I'm 67 years old and a retired Canadian Pacific Railway police constable with 35 years of service working in Ontario. In the mid-80s, I was invited to a deer camp in Restoule, approximately 30 kilometers south of North Bay, Ontario. To get to camp, we drove approximately 8 kilometers on a logging road, then another 3 to 5 kilometers on a 2-track road using four-wheelers to arrive at our destination. The camp is 80 feet long and 30 feet wide, with two 4x3, the cabin, I think you meant the cabin, with two 4x3 windows in the main room, which come into play later in my story. In the main room, there's 7 bunk beds and a large picnic table where an oil lamp is lit before we turned in for the night. My bunk was next to one of the windows, which gave me a good view during daytime. Steve, we were all in our bunks and some of the guys were sleeping while the rest of us were talking of events that happened that day. And all of a sudden, without warning and no sound, a bright light appeared through the window, lighting up the outside and inside of the cabin brighter than daylight. As I looked out the window, I could tell the light was coming from the sky and appeared to be shimmering, if that makes any sense. As I got up from my bunk towards the door, I was told not to go out. As soon as it appeared, it was gone. And this lasted maybe 5 to 10 seconds. In the morning, we all tried to figure out where the light came from and how it was so bright, but we could not come up with an explanation. P.S. I'm sorry, Steve, I don't have any railway stories, but like you, I believe these rail crews have seen things while traveling in the northern parts of the provinces, but are afraid of being ridiculed by their peers of what they saw. Keep kicking out the vlog, Steve, as you're helping thousands of people from around the world. MGM, Retired Railway Bull. Yeah, no doubt, man. Appreciate that email big time. Hopefully you knee-jerk a few guys to email from the railroads. I've said it over the past. I've said it, I don't know how many times, how I'm absolutely enthusiastic to hear from railway workers, especially from Alberta and BC, especially, or anybody in, like you say, in the northern provinces. The stuff, those locomotive headlights are so bright, it's ridiculous. Coming around corners in the mountains, especially like down the Fraser Canyon and stuff, through the Rocky Mountains, you know they've seen lots of shit. Afraid of ridicule. What a shit-eating frickin' characteristic we humans have, isn't it? Scared of each other. So scared of what somebody thinks. Man, I lost that a long time ago. Thank God. Thank God. I'm not even familiar with railway police officers. I'm not familiar with that at all. Like, I don't know why there's separate law enforcement for railway. They have their own law enforcement. That's odd. Maybe somebody could write into me and explain it to me. And what your job was, what you normally dealt with to have to be law enforcement officer with a railroad. I don't get it. I guess maybe kicking off hobos, people jumping on the tracks, on the carts. I don't know. But anyway, appreciate that email. The bright lights, we had more than a handful of people have emailed the past talking about night becoming daylight in the middle of the night. And then instantly back to nighttime again. How to explain that one? Somebody coming into the main room to look down into our fishbowl, us leaving the door open by accident? I don't know. Sarah and her family saw that similar description of bright light in the forest back in behind their place in New Brunswick. They all just kind of looked at it and went, holy shit, what's that? Crazy. And they went back in the house. I don't know how many of you would go, it was the middle of the night, and you saw that bright light lighting up the timberway in the back 40. How many of you would go jump in the quad, go racing back there? And then why does the bright light in the timber scare the shit out of us and make us nervous? Because we don't know what the hell it is, right? We don't know what is up. We're not that much different than a herd of elk or any other kind of herd animal, as far as I'm concerned. We're scared. The majority of us need to be near each other, and we always like to pick on each other and kick each other, right? Just like a herd of horses or elk, or anything else. Insecure to be alone, need to have the herd around, and when you're around, you're just biting and kicking each other. Right? Not all the time, but you know what I'm saying. I'm rambling. Weather's changing. Weather's changing. Summer 95 is the title of this email. Good morning, Steve. It's been 25 years now since my girlfriend, now wife, and I seen something. We never talk about it, but we were very shooken up that summer evening. I'll just do my best to describe what happened. Back in the early summer 95, I asked wife if she wanted to take a drive up to Canyon Lake. Canyon Lake is east of Phoenix near the town Apache Junction and Superstition Mountains. We spent the day doing some fishing and just sitting by the water and having a nice picnic. It was a really nice day. And it started getting late, so we decided it was time for us to head home. It's just over an hour to get back to where where we lived at the time, so we started heading back toward Phoenix. It got dark on us as we were driving home, and anybody that's been to Canyon Lake know it has switchbacks and it's a dirt road, or at least it used to be. So as I was driving up the road, I was turning around a corner, and just in view of the headlights, something stood up from a crouched position and jumped down from a boulder, then went behind some trees. Mind you, there isn't much of any landscape or big forest trees in this area. I would call it mid-desert landscape. Some juniper trees, boulders, cactus, but nothing major. But the area does back to a national forest, but nothing that you consider forest. So my mind did not process it. And my wife didn't say a word. And I didn't say a word. We just sat in the car looking, and then whatever it was, it moved from the small trees to some large boulders. It was big. I'd have to say it was at least 8 feet tall, and it moved like a person would on 2 legs, and it moved quickly. Very quickly. That's when my wife started to scream like I've never heard her do again to this day. From it jumping down from the first boulder into the trees and moving 15 to 20 feet behind a large boulder, I'd say I got at least 7 seconds of view of this thing. Looked like it had dark, black, hairy arms that came down to its knees. At the time, we had a hatchback 2-door car. My wife started to scream. I took off as fast as I could. The road was a bit rocky with some medium-sized rocks. I just wanted out of there. I broke the muffler clean off. But no way in hell was I going to stop. It's been 25 years since this happened, and we've not been back since. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club, but what do you say? And the battery died. Seriously. Then the battery died. See, one-man show, right? The battery said there was 1 hour and 40 minutes of recording left. That was only 51. Anyways, then I went on to read this last email. And appreciate that email you sent us. Here comes Adventure Dog, panting like crazy because she ran the whole way back, you crazy dog. Hey? The whole way back. Now, this final email from today was titled, which I already read down at the river, A Warning Concern for You. Hello, Steve. My name is Dave. No last name, not for me, but for my wife. I personally could not care less. At this stage of life, I'm used to getting the dog hearing a strange sound look, so I'll get into it and try not to make this a book. I watched one of your videos where you were talking about trying what I call Eastern meditation, where you blank out your mind. I hope this gets to you in time. Please don't do this. Because if you don't control your mind, there are plenty of evil entities that will control it for you. I know that if you read this on air that there's going to be plenty that say BS, but they could probably already need delivered. So as you say, why would I get up today and say to myself, what BS can I make up today and send to Steve today? It's not worth my time. So while I have not seen that I know of a wild person, I've had several what most could call supernatural experiences. So I will share some with you in hopes that you will understand why I was compelled to warn you. Number 1, several years ago while at your one night, at something one night, I was walking down the aisle where the pick product to send to stores. I was approached by something from the bottom shelf. Sorry, what? I was approaching a lady that was knelt down getting something from the bottom shelf when this grotesque, translucent face came out of the side of her head and snarled at me. Number 2, I had a person just railing on me, just ripping me up one side down and down the other. I was led to bind the devil in Jesus' name, and it cut them off in mid-sentence. They got a confused look on their face like they could not remember what was going on and turned around and stormed off. Number 3, A few years ago, I had to have open heart surgery, and while in the hospital, something tried to attach itself to my mind. Due to everything that was going on and the fact that I had to sit in a chair due to back pain, I was exhausted. When I did finally try to sleep, this thing would attack my mind and make it race out of control. No rhyme or reason, just everything all at once, with flashes of light and hardly any coherent thoughts. I'd never experienced anything like it before. It also followed me home. But when I got home, out of the extra stuff from the hospital, I was able to compose myself and realize what was going on. I prayed and rebuked this thing in Jesus' name and have never experienced it again. So there you go, some experiences for you. I pray that you heed my warning. Well, I've not experienced what some call mind speak. I have experienced what I call thoughts that are not my own. I'll also guarantee that you and everyone else has also. We just don't pay attention and think that they are ours. Have you ever been winding down for the day and going over things like we do, then kind of out of the blue come this negative thought, usually about someone or something that happened or what they did? And if you react to it, the next thing you know, you're going down this thought trail that's got you so worked up that there's no way you can get to sleep now. Just like the experience that I shared before of the person getting cut off in mid-sentence. We get attacked all the time. So, Steve, I hope that I've given you food for thought and hopefully kept you from opening yourself up to the enemy. I'll leave you for now with one last thought on the Sabe people. I believe that a biblical venue point can help you put some of the pieces together that are missing. Now, I said biblical, not church, the kind that comes from reading and seeking yourself. I like you absolutely believe that we've been lied to, but not only by the governments, but by the churches as well. But more on that another time, maybe. Feel free to reach out if you want. Peace and safety to you, Dave. Dave, appreciate the warning, my man. I don't see where meditation tied into any of those experiences you had, though. You know what I mean? And by meditating, I don't believe what I'm picturing is meditating. It's just blanking out your thoughts and being able to listen. I think that's what it is. That's what I'm anticipating, is blanking out your thoughts and being able to listen to something we may be missing. I don't know. But I don't believe it's opening the door to allow somebody to take control of me. It's not the way I'm perceiving it anyway. You might hear some noise. Adventure Dog just came up with her frozen bone I pulled out of the freezer. We're going to wrap this up anyway. But anyway, you know, it's funny. People give me warnings. I appreciate it. When people give you warnings, it's because they care and they show concern. And I absolutely appreciate that big time. Absolutely appreciate it. But it's kind of funny. I've never been one to walk away, you know, especially from warnings. I guess in some, not, you know, getting a warning from a grizzly bear or something like that, you know, but I mean, I don't know. I've always gone the opposite direction, you know. Somebody threatens me or warns me. It's like, oh yeah, can't help it. I can't, and I know I can't help it. And maybe it's a weakness. I don't know. We had something go down a few days ago with a bad person. Yeah, I won't even talk about that. We don't need to talk about that on here, but let's just say sometimes I'm not proud of how I react in a way. I don't know, I believe with bad people, it's just tough to walk away. You know what I mean? It's tough to walk away from, especially with bad people. I've had a lot of bad people outside. I've had my stalker. I've had a stalker on here. I've had a handful of stalkers on here. People coming after me, telling me they're coming to get me. And I don't know how many times I said, please come on over. Just come on over. You know, lose the keyboard. And I've always been that way, and I can't stop myself, and I don't know why. I'm admitting it. So is it a weakness? I don't know. But yeah, I even had this one guy recently email me a handful of times saying he can't wait to see the look on Sarah's face when he comes out the driveway and does to me what he's going to do to me. You know, who is this person? Haven't a clue. Obviously, some psychopath that found me online and decided I was their mortal enemy. Even said one time that I'm easy to pattern. I've been patterned. I'm so easy to pattern. as this psychopath is allegedly stalking me, and I laugh at that because I am the original professional patterner. I've been patterning and successfully finding very rare sized, large, mature game animals all my life, and I'm good at it. And when I tried to actually, if I could actually picture patterning me, good luck. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. Isn't it funny? Why am I babbling about that? Probably because you brought up the warning part. The warning, I appreciate them. I just find that I automatically go in the opposite direction, which means going to it. But anyway, we'll see what comes, right? All right, enough of the babbling. Thank God the battery didn't die on me halfway through this. Would have really annoyed me. But either way, tomorrow, one of the Arizona 4s on here tomorrow with me, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's Sarah lined up. And after that, we'll get even more of those fellas on here for a talk and question period. Knowledge sharing. And we'll be back tomorrow, guaranteed. And share my story at howtohunt.com, all right? That's where you get to share it. And to the Arizona fellas, I don't know if I share this on the river or not already, but the tell my story, that's the old one, you guys. So I try to get everybody to share my story. And I just checked that randomly today. Lots of times I don't even go there for weeks at a time. So that's how I got you guys' emails this morning while spilling my whole coffee on myself to start my day. But anyway, enough babble. Share my story at howtohunt.com. I will be back tomorrow with a guest. Later.